Hi friends, welcome to another Sunday evening with me. Thanks for being here. Let me know where you're from. Let me know how you're feeling, what you're doing right now, how your week was, how you hope your week is gonna be. Let me know if you can hear me, because that's really important. So if you're here, thank you for being here. Last week, we had some technical difficulties, but we still had a really good conversation, I think, about how you should start before you're ready, and how when we're too worried about, doing things perfectly or on time, it really stops us from actually doing the thing. Yay, we can hear you. Thank you, Marquita. Hi. Great, awesome. Oh, yay, welcome. Thank you. Thanks for being here, you guys. All right, so today, oh yay, thank you. Thanks for being here. So today we're gonna talk again, and hopefully this time the art actually works, because I really wanna be able to show you guys what I'm making while I'm talking. And if not, it's okay too, because like last time, we'll just keep, we'll figure it out and we'll just keep on keeping on. So that's the goal. But yeah, let me know, how are you guys doing? Where are you guys from? I know where some of you guys are from, because you're my friends. So thank you for being here. But yeah, how's your week going? Or how did your week go? That's what I'm asking. So, yes. All right. And of course, things are happening. Okay. But anywho, so today we're going to talk about rest. So the reason why I wanted to talk about rest was because I recently listened to this podcast called 1619, and I've been meaning to listen to this for like over a year now. My cousin told me about it, and it's basically about like the 400 years that Black people have been here in America on paper, since there was record of us being here. And so in the podcast, they talk about a lot of things like music and entertainment, and of course, like, the economy, and how basically slavery, welcome from Omaha, Nebraska, Marquita. And basically how slavery created our economic system. And so one of the downsides to it, there are a lot of downsides, right, to slavery. But one of the downsides to slavery is that, we went from doing like big projects, like being paid per project, to now being paid for our time and being paid for like our life, for our livelihoods. And so this whole creation of capitalism here in America was founded on slavery, was founded on the right to use people's bodies and talents and things like that to make money. And it also created this system where the people at the top, meaning like the slave master, got rich off of the work of, Black people's bodies. And, we all know what happens. We all know, we all know as Black folk being here, like what were the consequences of that, of slavery? Our health, our mental health, our wellness, our well-being, our financial state, all that good stuff has been affected by slavery. And so, oh yay, welcome from Chicago. I love Chicago. I do. I like going there. Oh yeah. So I don't really like a lot of, small talk. I know, it's awkward socially to just kind of get into stuff, but why not? We're here. We're all adults. But yeah, I really feel like we don't really recognize the ramifications of slavery as well as we should. And so therefore we don't realize things like capitalism and stuff exist because slavery happened here in America. And so this whole idea of this talk today came from Black people's experiences in America. Myself, I'm a Black woman, and so a lot of you are too. And so we don't really realize how ingrained it is in our like mental and like physical health for us to be exhausted. Like, we are constantly exhausted, and we don't even realize how tired we are, like, until something bad happens. Sorry, my eyes are watering. I think I put lotion in my eyes. But until something bad happens, like our health starts failing, or like, we have a mental breakdown or whatever it is, like, we don't really realize that we're actually living on like E, right? Or living on the edge. And so because we're living so close to the edge, any little thing can push us off the edge. And so, so I'm gonna actually get started creating now. All right, so this is what I want to create because it's a woman, and I love Black women. All right, so yeah, the whole idea again from, I don't know, slavery from this one episode was that, Black Americans not only built the country but also built the economic system that the country thrives on. And so sadly, there's been a lot of things that has to happen in order for money to be made. And again, in this country, that system thrives off of our exhaustion, off of our sickness, sadly. Like, the health system is screwed. Like, it's so many evils that come with something that's supposed to be so good, right? And so I know a lot of people are like, no, like, I am a capitalist. And I guess in some instances we kind of all are. But, like, there is a certain kind of evil to the capitalism that there is in America. It benefits and prospers off of other people's, like, well-being, as in, like, their not well-being. And so to me, something is gross about that. But anywho, about rest. So it's been ingrained in us from birth to not rest. And I don't know about you, but, like, a lot of people when they were growing up, you would have parents, bless them, they're amazing. They did the best that they could. But a lot of times we inherited that exhaustion from them, right? Like, our parents were tired, so, like, everybody got to be tired. If I'm up early in the morning, everybody got to get up, right? And so there have been instances where if you're sleeping and your parent kind of comes in your room and is like, get up. And you're like, why? And they're saying, because it's time to get up, right? Those little things instill in us this idea that rest has to be earned, and resting for the sake of resting is not okay. Like, there's something wrong with rest. Like, and again, have to get into, racism, because if a Black person, God forbid, like, on their day off, decides that they want to sleep in that day, or that they actually not interested in doing any work, even though they're bone tired, they're labeled as lazy Black people. And that's been a trope that we've had to fight for so long. It's almost like we bought into this idea that was sold to us about being exhausted. Like, oh no, I grind, I wake up when the sun comes up. I stay up all night. I'm asleep when I die. And it's like, you're buying into this idea that they want you to buy into. Like, there's nothing wrong with rest. There's absolutely nothing wrong with rest. I actually recently saw a cartoon, and I think it was by Disney. I'm not sure. But in this cartoon, it's like Sleepy Town or something like that. You can look it up. It's on YouTube. And essentially, it's making fun of, like, the sleepy town where all these Black people are just, like, napping and resting and singing these songs. And it's so offensive. It's so wildly offensive. But, like, back then, that was the norm. It's like, oh, these lazy Black people. Like, we literally got blamed for the downfall of slavery. And so after being freed, it's like, oh, these Black people aren't doing enough. They aren't working hard enough. And to that point, like, there was this article I saw on Instagram, and it pissed me off so much. In this town, I can't even remember what town it was, but essentially any woman that was not hired by a white family to work in their house, if they, like, let's say if you're married back then, like, I think this was like in the 50s, they were married to, like, these wealthy men, Black women married to wealthy Black men. And so white women couldn't find anybody to take care of their homes. And of course they caused a ruckus, and they were like, oh, well, there's all these Black women out here, but they not working for me. So, like, what are they doing? And so they literally tried to pass a law to make it illegal for Black women to be at home with their kids, minding their businesses. Like, they literally tried to pass a law because they were so pissed off the audacity of Black women to rest. The audacity. And so, I don't know if the thing passed or not, but the fact that it was printed in an article, and the way that they refer to these women and these men, like, as lazy, not doing nothing productive, and blah blah blah. Meanwhile, you want to hire a Black woman to take care of your own home, which is, like, the irony is ridiculous, right? Yeah. Thank you. So the irony is ridiculous because it's like, woman, you can't or you don't want to take care of your own home, but you want a black woman to come out of her own home to take care of your kids, but she's lazy, but she's incompetent, she's a troublemaker. Like literally, this is the language that they were using, and it was worse language. So what I'm saying isn't even like the worst of it. But the fact that, this media was printed and shared is dangerous, because I can't even imagine like what violence, what harassment and stuff like that the women down there had to face. Like, they were trying to, again, make it illegal for women to stay at home. For black women to stay at home, even though white women stayed at home all the time, which is, anyway. So, I see stuff like this, and it's amazing to me that we're still buying into this idea that we got to work till we die. We got to not even work, but like strain and stress and struggle. Like, hustle culture is lying to us and telling us like, oh snap, like, you need to, if you want to be successful, you gotta, work till you, drop dead. Like, you can sleep when you die. All this silly and simple mentality. Like, it's like, what are y'all even talking about? Like, your ancestors worked till they died. That's crazy. And now you're willingly going into the same kind of bondage and mindset that your ancestors had back in the day, and they didn't have no choice. So before I know I get really like passionate, but like, your ancestors did not die for you to die early because you stressed out and you straining and you struggling when you have an option to live a better life. We have options. We're privileged compared to our ancestors, granted. But like, we're privileged and we choose to willingly go into bondage. And I don't know if that's disrespectful, but to me it kind of feels that way. I don't know, like, again, my great grandma, she didn't have the opportunity to go to college. She didn't have the internet, so even if you didn't go to college, who cares, right? We still have access to information and things where it's like, I have a choice in my own life, and the freedom that I have that my ancestors did not have, like, I'm not going to use that freedom to put myself in bondage. I'm not going to do it. And I've just decided to opt out of stress and strain. And it took me a minute because I thought like, oh snap, I got to hustle. That's why those, even those cups that's like, oh, hustle, what is it? Wake up and hustle or whatever. I don't even like that anymore. Like, I hate it. I hate it because it's so brainwashed, and it's so like, it's not for us. Like, I keep saying hustle culture is not for black people. It's not. Like, I don't know what y'all doing over there, but as for me and my people, like, we have been hustling. And that's the thing, like, we all know these stories where our grandparents held down 5 jobs, you know what I mean? And still was broke. So if hustle culture is supposed to work, why it ain't work for them? Why is it only working for you, person who wants to sell me this course about living in the tropics and, hustling and grinding my fingers to the bone? Like, why does that only work for you? Because it's not meant for black people. Like, it's just not. And it's traumatizing because, again, it was almost illegal to rest, right? So of course rest is going to be the furthest thing from our minds. Like, it's like, no, I have to work. I got to make things happen. I got to, get it popping for myself. You know what I'm saying? And then we get into this mentality of like not working in communities and stuff like that. How it's like, oh, every man for themselves. I can't even tell where her hair ends. But it's like how it's like every man for themselves. And we've always been a people of community. We've always done things in community and with each other. And we've always lifted up other people as we got up ourselves because that's what we had to do. And sadly, with this newfound privilege, a lot of people, feel like, oh, well, I got it by myself. You got to get it by yourself, too. And it's like, Negro, you did not get it by yourself. Somebody had to struggle and strain for you to get to where you are. I digress because that's not the point of this conversation. But you see the effects of hustle culture and how it has plagued the black community because, again, it don't work for us. It don't work for us. It wasn't meant for us. And what they thought was good for us, right? We were enslaved. We were bonded. Like, yeah, no. Like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in it. It reminds me of the no spending month you did some time ago. When we start to value commercial products, it keeps us in the hustle culture mindset. Exactly. Like, Exactly. So it's like there's nothing necessarily wrong with, I guess, purchasing things and supporting people, especially if it's a Black business. I'm down for that. But especially this, but we're trying to live up to this ideal that, one, again, wasn't made for us to be able to afford these lifestyles. For what? Like, for what reason are we buying these things? Like, and I get it. Like, I'm on the wrong thing. I get it. Like, Christmas is coming up. We want to show people we love them. We want them to know that they're cared about and, like, you know, they're so important to us. But to that, I ask, like, do we have a better way to show them? Like, can we show them with our presence? Like, and yes, if people need money and you got it, for sure. Like, I'm all about giving people money that need it. Like, it's no problem. But for what reason are we buying these gifts, right? And to that point, like, me and my husband did a no-spend December last year. No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago? And the whole point was that Christmas, while it is a great holiday and it represents something amazing, the birth of Christ, right, or it should, it's commercialized like so many other things in our culture. Like, it's commercialized and the meaning of it gets lost, you know, with all these sales and like all the stress that people, you know, feel trying to provide for their kids. And I get it. You want to give your kids great things. You want to give your mother great things, you know, but I don't know. I guess I just feel like my love can't be given to you in a gift card. It can't be given to you in a bracelet. Like, if you got it, do it, right? But what I can give you is something more, my presence. I have gifts from people. Again, me and my husband just moved, so we had to get rid of a lot of things. And so it really makes you focus on what's important. And before that, we moved into an RV. So we really had like this much space for things. And you realize how many things you really don't need and how many things, you know, you're carrying because you want to remember the person who gave it to you. You want, you know, you want to honor them. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I struggled with that. I struggled with giving it away or donating things or whatever because I'm like, well, this is from my great grandma who's no longer with us. And I don't want her to feel like I don't care about her. I don't know. And I know that she's, you know, passed on, and I really don't think she would care, just being honest. But it was just a t-shirt that she used to wear. And so, you know, I realized that like even me giving gifts to other people is a burden to them because then they're like, oh, well, do I have to keep what Alicia gave me? Because if I don't have it, if it's not posted on the mantle, you know, she's going to feel away. And I'm not going to feel away. But what matters more than the gifts and the things is the person who gave it to you. Like, there's nothing that can bring my great grandmother back. And me and her were best friends. Like, best friends. And if I get emotional, that's okay. But no gift, nothing that she wore, no jewelry. I have a whole box of jewelry of her jewelry because she used to give me, it's symbolic because she used to give me jewelry when I went back home. And no, I wouldn't wear it. And it was mostly like costume jewelry. But because it belonged to her, I wanted it. Because I thought she was amazing. You know what I mean? And I don't think that even if she was alive today, I don't think that she would want me to carry that heavy weight of not being able to let her go. And not even let her go in that way, but like her things. Like, what's important to me about her was not that she gave me jewelry. It has nothing to do with that, right? It's just, again, symbolic of a tradition that we shared. But I found it so difficult to let that go. And so I don't want to do that to other people. But then also, no amount of jewelry or anything that I have can bring her back. And that's what I truly want. What I truly want is, you know, her presence and her kindness and her love. And no gift that you can give somebody can replace that. Like, nothing. That's why going back to the hustle culture and all this other stuff, like, I get it. Like, some people are working really hard to provide their kids with a life they never had, when all they really need is their parents. All they really need is their affections and their approval. Like, there are people who are dirt poor, like, who have these vivid memories of their parents loving them. Like, vivid memories. And none of the stuff, like, that they gave them could amount to the love that they gave them. Like, there are people who didn't even know they were poor. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even know they were poor because their house was filled with so much love. Thanksgiving just passed, and whether or not you celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, I have memories from childhood where, we would go over to my grandmother's house. And my grandmother was not rich by any means, but she had 9 kids. And so you can imagine how big the family was that came. And nobody went without. She wasn't a woman of, many means or anything like that. But at the same time, like what she lacked in, like, I guess belongings, I don't know, or money, she had in love. And the house was full, and we ate till we couldn't eat anymore. Like, that's the stuff that really mattered, not the gifts. Like, first of all, she has too many grandchildren to give all of us gifts. That's the first thing. So it's like, you're gonna come and get this love, and it's gonna be enough, and it's gonna be okay. And we never really expected, just being honest, we never really expected any gifts from her either. But my point in saying all of that is, like, the stuff that matters can't be bought. It can't be purchased. Like, the stuff that matters is the stuff that you'll remember forever once the person, like, after the person is gone. The effect they had on your life. Like, that's the stuff that truly matters. And for us, like, we were just tired of buying into this idea of, like, let's play who cares the most. You know what I mean? Like, no, I love you. And even if I don't have any money, I don't want you to feel like I don't love you, because if that's the case, then there's a bigger problem. Like, my love shouldn't have to be defined by what gifts I give you. Anywho, so I really believe that because a lot of Black people, just being honest, their parents, they struggled, and so they wanted to either live a better life or to give a better life to their kids or their parents. And so we've bought into this idea that, like, oh, we gotta, hustle until we make it, and I don't know. Again, I might not be at your piano recital, but you're gonna have the fancy shoes. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's like a boring example, or like it's too easy, right? But it's still the same idea. Like, I would care more about my parents being there at my game than them buying me fancy shoes. We ain't had no fancy shoes, okay? We went to the thrift store. Like, I didn't know anything about name brand anything. And I'm kind of grateful for that, because I really don't care at this point, and I can save my little coins. And no diss to anybody who does care. It's just, that's just not how, that just wasn't a priority in my family. And we struggled a little bit. We did. And like, I know my parents did the best that they could, but they were really trying to give us a better life than they had, which is commendable. But I see the effects of them working really, really hard. My mother struggles with some illnesses brought on by stress. And she was doing what she could do, and some of the stress that she went under wasn't even her fault. But I really see, again, I used to work at a hospital, and so many Black folk with hypertension and back pain, and just horrible effects, again, from hustling, from working really, really, really hard. And again, for some people, it's a privilege to not have to work hard, and I get that. But I really feel like at this point, sometimes we have a choice, and we choose to just buy into the system that says that we are what we create. We are what we make. And that identity has come from slavery. If you weren't, I don't know, pulling your weight, so to speak, if you weren't, barreling as much cotton as the next person, if you weren't, I guess, rice, like getting enough rice as everybody else, like, you were punished, you were killed, you were sold, like all these other things, right? That same mentality we still have to this day. Like, we are what we create. It's like, no, you are because you exist. Like, you are worthy because you exist. Like, you're not worthy because of what you can do for other people. You're not worthy because of how much money you make or your status or none of that. That stuff changes, but your worth never changes. Your worth never, ever changes. And I had to learn that through failure, through falling on my face. Like, it's like the world wants you to look at yourself as a machine because they benefit from that, not you. If you look at yourself as a machine, then you're going to be compliant. You're not going to rage against the machine, so to speak, or the system. They want you as compliant as possible. And I just really want us to free ourselves from this need to be compliant. That has never served us, being compliant, especially when it comes to things that are unhealthy for us. Let's see how this is moving along, guys. Okay. All right. Okay. But yeah, we've lost the idea. I have notes again. because sometimes I go off topic and I'm like all over the place. But that's okay, because I like having conversations with you guys. But I feel like Bob Ross sometimes when I'm doing this. Like happy mistakes. But no, we've lost the idea of hobbies. We feel like what is that song that goes, if it don't make money, it don't make sense. Like that's a real mentality we have. So we've lost the idea of recreation and play, or even just chilling and not doing nothing at all. Like you're still worthy if you're not doing a thing. If you're laying on the couch and being of no use to anybody else. Same here. And we were super happy when our parents brought the thrift store bags home. Exactly. Didn't that feel like a shopping spree? Like I didn't know that, using air quotes, poor people shopped at thrift stores. I like the only reason why I knew it is because people would make fun of me. But beyond that, I had clothes and I can, play around with stuff and stuff like that. Yes, Bob Ross. Bob Ross was the man. He was very calm, very loving, and he was really cute. But anyway, yeah, like I didn't know what thrift store, like I didn't know that I was poor. You know what I'm saying? Like I just knew my parents was like, oh, you need clothes. Let's get you some clothes. And I also didn't have no choice. So whether or not, I knew I was poor or not, it honestly and truly didn't matter. But yeah, so we lost the idea of hobbies. Like, again, when was the last time you just did something for fun? Not to make no money, not to, I don't know. Not to build an audience, not to lose weight, like not to be productive in any sense of the word. I really feel like as Black folk, and I'm speaking directly to Black folk today. If you're here and you're white, welcome. I appreciate you being here. But as a Black woman, I got to talk about Black things. That's just my experience. And so I really feel like it's revolutionary for Black people to have hobbies. I feel like it's revolutionary. Anything we do is revolutionary because we're Black, like just because we exist. And maybe 3 generations before didn't really happen, for fun anyway. When we were slaves, when we were enslaved, we were always artists. We were always creative. We were always, geniuses. Like, that's not new. The thing that's new, though, now is that we can actually use that genius for ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, back in the day, again, everything we created was taken from us. Everything we created was taken from us. Every blanket, every fixture, every sculpture, every piece of art was taken from us and sold to other people. Even the land we worked on was taken, well, firstly from the indigenous peoples that live here, but then also the stuff that we brought in, like the crops that we brought in, was taken from us. Like, we couldn't use none of the stuff that we were having. Like, we were, raking in tobacco and rice and all that other stuff. Like, we would get rations, but we were doing all the work, And so I really feel like when I can come here, like the fact that I'm sitting here with y'all today, doing this because it feels good and it's fun, and talking to y'all about something I really care about, that's privilege. And I feel like that's a way that I can honor my ancestors who could not have a choice, who could not enjoy what they created for the sake, like creating for the sake of creating. Like, what? Even in the artist community, I'm going to talk about this. A lot of people, believe that if you're not making millions of dollars as an artist, you're a failure. And I totally disagree. You are an artist because you are, right? But at the same time, I get why Black people feel that way, because it's like, again, trauma. And like, oh snap, if you're not bringing in money, we poor, you can't do this thing. Like, you got to get yourself a real job. That's been said to me before, and it hurt my feelings so bad. You gotta work just like everybody else is working. And so there's so many ancestors that I'm sure we all have whose dreams were never actualized, whose dreams were never fulfilled. And, I feel like as kind of like they're in our blood, right? Like, we have the opportunity to honor them in that way. Like, I talk about this all the time. The voice I have, the voice I sing with is from my mom, from my auntie, from my grandmother, from my great-grandmother, from generations of women who I've never met before. The way that I sing, the way that I think, like all that stuff is from all these women. And so I believe that I carry them with me in some aspects, right? Even if you're not into the whole ancestor thing, like genetically speaking, you probably have some of your ancestors in there, and also some of their trauma and some of the things health-wise that you're trying to work through yourself. That's just honestly the plight of Black folk And we're doing the best with what we can, but I really feel like I carry my ancestors with me. And I want to honor them because I know, again, they could only dream as far as they could see. And for a lot of them, they couldn't see past their plantation. You know what I mean? And it's a very sobering thought because we can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine what that's like. I don't know. Like, we say all the stuff that, oh, if I was there, I would did it. And you don't know what you would do. People were trying to survive, okay? Black folk been trying to survive for years. And so, to that point, like, when I rest, when I don't do a daggone thing, when I sit on the couch and I watch cartoons or Netflix or whatever, that's me resting for my ancestors. That's me being revolutionary and, you know, sticking it to the man, so to speak. Like, that is the act of not doing anything, but just because I enjoy it and it makes me feel good. That is something that my people could not do. Some of my people still can't do that. Still cannot do that. You know what I'm saying? And like, I feel like it would be a slap in their face if I willingly gave myself to this idea that I am a machine, because they were looked at as as animals, like as animals. And for me to sit here and be like, oh yeah, grandma, like I feel you. However, like, I gotta work myself to death. I just find it disrespectful. I do. I don't like that. I do. And one thing that I think that I would change about my children, if, you know, the Lord wills us to have kids, is allowing them to rest just because they want to rest. If you want to sleep in on a Saturday, sleep in. Yes, you got chores and stuff to do, right? Like everybody else in the house. But if you want to sleep in and there's nothing to do, rest. Like, that's totally fine. So I told you I had all these notes, right? I don't even know if I'm hitting all of them, but I'm just free flowing right now. So, you know, I feel like us resting is a way to get back what was taken from us. Like, resting is the only way to heal. Resting is the only way to rejuvenate. Resting is the only way to, like, really, like, you trying to force ideas to happen and you can't do nothing because your brain is exhausted. Like, go to sleep. Take a nap. You know what I mean? I don't know. Let me know if y'all get what I'm saying. Or if you resonate with what I'm saying. Because I don't know, I think this work of rest and play and recreation is really important. And I feel like, especially as like creative folk, or, you know, folk entrepreneurs, or whatever you want to call yourself, like, I really feel like you doing the work to learn how to play just for the sake of playing, or hang out with your friends and be okay with, like, not doing anything productive that day. That's the hard work. That's the hard work. How's it looking, you guys? You like what you're seeing so far? I'm liking. Again, I love Black women. There's just something, like, not magical, because even this whole Black girl magic thing, let's talk about that, right? Black girl magic. In the beginning, I feel like it had great intentions. I feel like, you know, we were putting each other on. It was like, yes, Black girl, yes. Like, yes, look at you doing great things. But I feel like even that has turned into a way, how am I trying to say this? It has turned into a way to categorize worthy, like, Blackness that's worthy of celebration, right? You get the degree, yes, queen, yes, like, you know what I'm saying? You doing the daggone, yes, like, look at you, you know what I mean? But then it's like, we forget about the women who are just at home and taking care of their kids. That's Black girl magic too. You know, we miss out on the opportunity to celebrate them, and for the grandmas, you know what I'm saying? Like, for the people working, you know, everyday job, going to McDonald's. Black girl magic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I refuse to buy into this. Like, it became, what's the word? It became trendy, almost like it became trendy almost to like our deficit. Telling that white man tomorrow I ain't coming because I need to honor my grandmother and him. Absolutely. Do that. I am all for a day off. Okay. You don't need no explanation like for anything. And you don't owe any explanation to anybody. Like, I'm all for calling out and not giving a reason. I'm not coming in today. Sorry. Can't do it. Leave it. Especially you got leave, please. That's what leave is for. And you're on point. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I hope what I'm saying, because I know I can be all over the place. But yeah, it's just something I'm super passionate about. What was I saying? Anywho. But yeah, Black Girl Magic. That's what I was talking about. So Black Girl Magic, I feel like has been co-opted. I don't even know if it's us, or maybe it is us, and we still have that mentality that like our worth is in what we do and what we create, how big we get, how much money we make, like if we're famous or not. And it's like, that is not Black Girl Magic. Black Girl Magic just is. Black Girl Magic just is because we exist, okay? And it's nothing more. Nothing more than that. But I know, like, a lot of people, and sadly, Black folk, it's like, y'all, we gotta get it together. Like, we looking down on people working at McDonald's or needing government assistance and all this other stuff. And it's just like, that's what it's there for. Assistance is there for assistance. You know what I'm saying? Like, people need help. And you built this country, and you making somebody feel bad that the country's trying to help them. You know, because honestly, like, unemployment specifically, I think, what is it, like 25% of what you make? It's not even that much, like, or disability or whatever. Like, oh, you guys are lazy, you know, It's like, oh, hush, be quiet. Like, this mentality of there are levels to this, that's white mentality. That's capitalism. That's this country. And I don't mean because not all white people. It's not, like, I know it's not all white people, but it is a very talking about slavery, going back to slavery. Like, how dare you ask for help? How dare you stay home? How dare you call out of work? Excuse me? How dare I? I've been working, like, just think about what work is. We work 52 weeks out of the year, give or take. And 50. You work 50 weeks standard, you know, practices. You work 50 weeks out of the year, and they tell you can only have 2 weeks. And then you work 5 days a week, and they tell you only have 2 days, which is really 1 day. And really that 1 day don't count. Saturday don't count because you're really doing chores. And then Sunday, you just preparing for Monday. Like, the whole system is flawed. Like, if anything, this pandemic has shown us that what we thought was necessary in our jobs is actually not. It's actually not. And it's also showing that y'all got the money to pay us more because y'all got money for everything else, but don't really want to give us no money for nothing that we need. But yeah, I heard a woman, if y'all follow, there's this couple, Gypset, and it's GYPSET. And they're a couple. They travel the country. They travel to different countries, actually. And right now I think they're in Mexico. And something she said, one of the women said, was like, I'm not interested in working hard anymore. And honestly, that triggered me because I was like, can we say that? Can we say that we're not interested in working hard anymore? Is that a thing? Like, am I allowed? Ooh, I like the way that looks. Anyway, am I allowed to say that I'm not interested in working hard? Is that allowed, right? And it's like, why not? If that's my truth, if I'm not interested in working hard, why can't that be? And the reason why it was triggering to me was because it was like, well, no, girl, you know, we got to work hard for some things. You know what I'm saying? Like, some stuff. But who told us that we had to work hard? Like, I know that it's been ingrained in us from, like, birth. I'm sure if you're a person of color at all, a woman, like, this idea, you got to work 3 times as hard and get half as far. And it's just this reality that we've accepted. And sadly, that is the case for a lot of things, you know, especially owned by men and then white men, right? Or even that whole community as a whole. But you're looked at as lesser. And so that is true on some levels. But why can't we make a life for ourselves that we actually enjoy? Like, why do we have to work hard at stuff? Who said? Like, Who said, and why do I have to believe them? Can I create a different reality for me and my future kids and my people and like my friends? Like, am I allowed to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, since we're just buying into all these, thoughts and ideas, like, who said I have to work hard? And I get it. Like, hard work is praised. Hard work is like, the only way you're going to get there is through hard work. And it's like, or like, I can just show up and do what I'm supposed to do. And sometimes, yes, that work is hard. I'm not denying that. Some stuff is just naturally hard. But why do I have to choose like struggle and strain and strife? Why do I have to choose that in order to be celebrated or to be great? And especially for Black women, we're celebrated by how much trauma and struggle and pain and chaos we choose to endure, or that we're forced to endure. Like, some stuff happens to us that we can never like not make it happen, right? Like, we can never undo it. We weren't prepared, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, why are Black women praised for how much struggle and trauma they go through? Why can't we just be praised because we're Black women and we're amazing? Why is that not enough? Why does it always have to be tainted in sorrow and like trauma? Yes, Black women, yes. Like, I don't want to be celebrated because of how much horrible stuff I had to go through in my life. You know what I'm saying? I honor that. And I also don't want to be stuck there, because that's not all of who I am, right? And that's the thing, like, the people who know me, I know, like, my friends know, my family knows, life has not been easy for me, like, at all. And, there's this poem by Langston Hughes. It's like, life for me ain't been no crystal stair, right? That's something that we all can resonate with. Like, we know life is not easy. Like, we're Black and we're women. You know what I'm saying? But, like, I want my story to be a story of love and of support and beauty and creativity. And I have to say love again, because, I mean, that's really what I want my story to be about. That's what I want to be remembered for, not for the horrible things that, I had to endure in my life, or like, those, and it's no diss, because whatever, girl, like, we all go through our stuff. But like, these men that be like, oh, this is my queen, because she stood by me through, I don't know. She stood by me through like cheating on her, or like whatever, like abuse, or like, and it's just like, well, dang, like, what, like, why? I don't know. I get it. People go through things. That's why I'm trying to be careful with what I'm saying right now. But it's like, why we got to be celebrated when we endure your crap? Like, why is that the only time we worthy of being celebrated, or being, I don't know. Call me silly. Call me what you want to call me. That's just how I feel. And I also believe that rest is not earned. It's a gift. Like, I'm a Christian, and so I read the Bible. And in the Bible, rest is mandated. Like, mandated by God. Sabbath, this idea of Sabbath. And the idea of Sabbath has changed, of course, because we're post the law, so to speak. And so the whole idea is like, for those of you who might not be Christian, or, whatever, that's fine. But like, in the Old Testament, like, Sabbath was a law. Like, you have to honor the Sabbath. And that meant like taking a day off. You don't work, you don't deal in any business or anything like that, any hard work, whatever. And so, the idea is that God gave us this gift. I think he gave us this gift because he knew we weren't going to take it. Left to our own devices, we would work ourselves to the ground. We would be unfair to other people, right? Like, we would be like, no, you got to keep working 7 days a week. That's why I don't believe in working 7 days a week. But that's a whole other discussion. But yeah, rest is a gift. Like, God says you have to rest. And I realized for myself, oh, yay, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying to find a color that I like. Yeah. So I appreciate that. But yeah, rest is not a gift. I mean, rest is not earned. It is a gift, and it is mandated. Like, I have to rest. I have to, because if my creator, the Lord of the universe, had to rest on the seventh day, maybe he didn't have to rest, but he was being an example, right? If he rested, by golly, I'm going to rest too. I'm going to sleep. I'm taking a nap. I'm sleeping in. Like, I'm getting a pedicure. I'm reading a book. I'm drawing for fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing something for the sake of it. And what I realize about myself is that when I'm afraid to rest is when I don't trust God. When I don't trust that he'll take care of me. when I don't trust that he'll come through for me. And I'm just being honest. Sometimes I don't trust God. Sometimes I'd be like, okay, God, you said, but this is looking like this. So I don't understand like what, you're missing, what you're not seeing. I'm just being honest. Like a lot of times I'd be like, okay, God, I don't get it. I'm doing everything you're telling me to do. I'm doing it. And yet, like, I'm still struggling. I'm still straining. I don't get it. And I think sometimes God just wants us to relinquish control to him. And I have to do that. Because, what other choice do I have? You know what I mean? Like, try to figure it out myself. And if I'm really going to be about this life of rest and, like, Sabbath and trying to maintain, like, a good headspace and good, like, body space, right? Like, I'm not trying to die of a heart attack at 53. That's not my story, right? Like, Lord willing. Who knows? But like, if I have any say in it, I don't want to die early before my time. You know what I'm saying? Like, whenever the Lord chooses to take me is when he's going to take me. But I want to work with him and like give him something to work with. You feel me? Like, he can still use someone, who is in a hospital. He can still use someone in a wheelchair. Like, he can still use someone who's going through ailments. And some of the stuff that we go through is not our fault. Like, some of that stuff is just hereditary. You know what I'm saying? But one thing that stuck out to me recently was they were talking about like some like health and issues that we have in our bodies, like how it's hereditary. Sometimes it's hereditary because we keep up the same habits. So like if you struggle with like, maybe you're like pre-diabetic or something, you know what I mean? And so like you come from a family that eats a lot of starches, a lot of sugars, all this other stuff. And you think like, oh, I'm going to get diabetes because it's hereditary. When in reality, it's like, well, you live in a home where everybody's eating the same things that struggle with that issue. So you probably will develop some sort of, ailment or something similar to theirs. And so like, I was like, wow. So like, I'm seeing my mom go through some things and some of the stuff she couldn't help herself. But if I can have any say in it, I need to change my habits. I need to see her as an example of her doing the best that she could. We didn't come from the best circumstances in our home. And because of that stress, she has some issues now. And so I know that since I'm predisposed, I guess, like to develop some sort of stressful ailment, then I need to really take care of like my stress levels. Like I got to take control and put some things in place to where I can manage my stress easier, right? Then like I can't just be out here, stressing myself out. And so a lot of that is about rest. A lot of that is about play. Is about expressing myself, is about, honestly saying how I feel, creating a space, even if it's on a YouTube channel, where I can come and talk about things that bother me or things that I love or things that move me. Having people in my life that are safe places that don't stress me out. And I don't mean that don't bring any trouble or like, because I believe that, as humans, we're going to run into some people that are just going to rub us the wrong way. Or like people we love, our friends, sometimes they annoy us. That's fine. Like, but toxic stuff, like the stuff where they like, I hate you and they're showing it in their actions. Nah, I can't be a part of that right now because I gotta maintain. I gotta maintain and reverse what's already been done in my life. And I want to be healthy for me and my mom and my future kids. And so how can I do that if I'm always stressed out? How can I do that? All right, what y'all think of this? I really like that. I like this chocolatey brown, like how her body kind of blends into the back. But I'll do that for myself because I think that's cool. The blue, let's try a different color too. But again, like the story of when the Israelites were in the wilderness, and God was like, I'm gonna give you manna, for every day. So you don't save the manna. Like, I'm going to give it to you. I like that. I like the brown. What y'all think? I like the brown. Ain't nothing like some brown. But yeah. Thank you. But yeah, when they were in the wilderness and God said, I'm going to give you manna, don't collect it. What they do, but collect it. Because they didn't trust God to supply their needs. And what happened is the manna went bad the next day. They were like maggots and all this other stuff. Yuck. And I see myself in those Israelites. I see like, even though they were wilding in the Bible, I'm like, that's me. Like, I'm wilding. I don't trust the creator of the universe, the person who created me to provide for me. And therefore I don't rest. I don't sit down. I don't sit still. I feel like I got to figure everything out. I feel like if something goes wrong in my life, my first instinct is not to pray. It's not to rest. It's not to sit down. It's like, okay, well, with the things I have now, what can I do? You know, how can I monetize this? How can I X, Y, and Z? And it's like, well, maybe God is just trying to tell you, like, girl, trust me. You know what I'm saying? Like, trust me. Give him an opportunity to show you that he's trustworthy. Y'all, I'm talking to myself because honestly, that's where I am currently. How you gonna make this work, Lord? Like, I gotta give him room to make it work. You know what I mean? And I had all these notes. I didn't even talk about half the stuff. But the whole point is like, don't use rest as some sort of reward. Like, don't do that. Rest is not a reward. Oh, yay. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. So rest is not a reward. Rest is mandatory. Your rest is sacred. Like, your rest is sacred. You sleeping, you not doing nothing, you creating a safe space for yourself, for your kids, for your family, to just let down their guard, to take off the masks that they have to put on in the world. Like, that is sacred. And so when you defile that sacred space by like, oh, we're not resting at all, we're going to be hustling the rest of our lives, like, you dishonor yourself, you dishonor your God, and you dishonor the ancestors that came before you. Like, they ain't died for you to be up here stressed out. They didn't. I promise you. I promise they don't want that for you. I assure you. And even if you're not Black, like, I'm still like, your rest is sacred. Like, it's something that's mandated by God because he knew we would not rest. He knew it. And so foreseeing all that busyness that we love to like take part in, he saw fit to be like, I love you so much. I'm going to tell you that you have to rest. You have to rest. You have to rest, because if you don't rest, you die. Like, this idea of like, I'll sleep when I die is pride. It is straight pride, and it is foolish. It is foolish. Yes, you will die, but you will also live a life that's exhausted, where you're sick, where you're not available for the people in your life, like to love on them, to give them what you need. Add margin to your life so you can be of good use to other people. Like, what's the point of being all busy when you can't enjoy the people that you're being busy for? What's the purpose? I don't know. It's not worth it to me. But anywho, that's all I have for today. I think. So this is what we ended up with. Let me see if can I zoom in? Let's see. Kind of not really. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. I really like this. I think I'm going to keep it brown. I really like the brown background. But before we leave, y'all, pick a practice in your life that brings rest and peace, and just pause, like quiet and stillness. Like, if it's in the morning before you pick up your phone or whatever, take a moment to take a deep breath. Like, when was the last time you took a deep breath and you could feel like what that breath feels like? Like, how sometimes I forget to breathe. So sometimes when I take a deep breath, I'm like, dang, I haven't breathed in a minute. I know I'm doing too much. I'm doing way too much. I'm way too distracted. I'm not present. And so we really have to do the work of actually being present. So my question to you was, how are you resting in your own life? If you're not, how can you implement more rest in your own life? Because these things are non-negotiables. They're important. They are literally the foundation of our life. I mean, water is too, but rest is like a close second. Because again, if you don't sleep, you get sick, you die. That's where your brain regenerates. That's where your skin regenerates. Your bodily functions. Like, the reason why we have to sleep is because our body can't do nothing without us being asleep. We doing too much. Like, you want your body to repair itself. Like, you want to feel better mentally, but you're not sleeping. You're not sleeping. Like, help your body. Help it. Help your God. Help your body. Okay. So until next time, you guys, I hope this was helpful. We ran a little over this time, but I think the discussion was nice. Yeah. And until next time, rest up. Do something fun. Do something that's not going to make you no money. That's just for, like, again, go get your nails. Well, or do your own nails. It's COVID. So do your own nails, or watch a movie on Netflix. Have a day, like, have a time set, like a non-negotiable date to be like, I am resting. I'm not doing anything today. And I guarantee you'll probably struggle at first if you're busy like me, but then afterwards you'll feel refreshed and you'll feel good and you'll feel happy. Your mind and your body and your soul will thank you for it. Okay. So until next time, you guys, happy Sunday. Have a wonderful week. I'll be here again tomorrow to make music. Until next time. Bye. Oh, thank you. Thank y'all for being here. Oh, thank you. Yes. Please ponder that question. I'll be thinking about that too. And I'm interested to see your answer too. So feel free to hit me up or anything like that. and we can talk. Okay? All right. Good night.